WXII 12 News at 4:30 starts right now.
Changes are coming to classrooms in North Carolina, with Governor Roy Cooper making a new mandate. We'll tell you what's happening at the elementary school level. And we're hearing from school officials after a teenager has been accused of raping someone on campus. What officials say their next steps are. And in our State of Addiction series, we want to tell you about Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. It's an opportunity to clean out the medicine cabinet and keep drugs out of the wrong hands. Good Friday morning. I'm Brianna Connor here with meteorologist Brian Slocum.
Hello.
We begin with that weather forecast. We had some rain sneak up on us while we were sleeping.
Not so sneaky. Yeah, not a lot of storms either. It was mostly a little bit on the showery side of things.
Well, I thought it wasn't going to come because it had just been so cloudy.
It just fizzled.
And so I thought maybe we got away with it, but
we did, but it's still kind of lingering overnight. But not much more than a few spots of rain. Not much it. I think we had 2 storms on radar all yesterday at all. And the lightning that we had didn't even last very long. You can see the showers kind of fading. Took a while to cross I-77, but eventually it did. You can see that little bit of a line of storms that came through the area during the evening hours. And we are still dealing with a few leftover raindrops here, just kind of adding to the overall muggy feel to the air as we go through the day today. But overall, it's looking fairly dry. We'll be contending with a few morning clouds and, of course, a few leftover showers really along and east of I-85 this morning. So prepare for that. Again, probably not even umbrella worthy early on. Fog is really starting to set up as skies are clearing in the west. There's a lot of moisture in the air, and it's helping to bring ground level fog and near zero visibility from Galax to Mount Airy this morning. So something you need to watch out for and allow a little bit of extra travel time trying to get to your morning destination. Look how warm it is. We are at 69 degrees in Burlington ahead of the front. Cool air is moving in behind it, at least briefly. Galax and North Wilkesboro, you're in the low to mid 50s, but we're near 70, closer to 70 than 60 across most, if not all, triad communities in the early going today. So keep the clouds fairly heavy early on. Southwest winds will warm us up, getting temperatures up near 85 degrees this afternoon. We'll see a lot more sunshine later on today. It's also going to feel a tad muggy, and that's going to be a theme heading into the weekend, especially with rising temperatures on Saturday. So a few early morning raindrops. It might take a little while for the clouds to clear once the front gets east of us, but we're pretty sunny in the afternoon. High temperatures in the mid 80s today, and look how warm it stays during the evening hours. It might be 10 or 11 o'clock before temperatures drop below 80 degrees tonight, but we'll be comfortable sitting in the 70s. Kind of makes you wish there were some evening baseball games. Just both teams are on the road as we go through tonight. Temperatures up near 88 degrees tomorrow, and then starting to cool down early next week.
Right now on WXII 12, police have convicted a woman in Winston-Salem of a number of charges after she allegedly forced a 12-year-old into prostitution. 39-year-old Flora Gonzalez was accused of taking the girl to have sex with men. She also allegedly took the girl to a man who raped her and arranged for her to have sex for money. This all came to light after the girl got pregnant. Gonzalez then told police the 12-year-old was sexually assaulted in order to get a free abortion. The girl told officers she had been forced into prostitution. Gonzalez has been convicted on 1 felony sex assault charge and 2 counts of felony child abuse. She is being held now until sentencing. A middle school student is facing charges behind a rape incident inside of a Guilford County school. The school district spoke out about the sexual accusation. This incident involving a 14-year-old happened at Wellborn Middle School in High Point. In a statement, the district says, quote, "We are deeply upset by the incident that occurred at Melbourne Middle. Our thoughts are with the victim, and our staff is providing support to that student. The internal investigation is in progress to determine what steps we need to take to strengthen safety at the school, and additional personnel are working with the school until that investigation is complete." Parents, listen up. Your child's classroom may be affected. This comes after the governor signed House Bill 13 yesterday. A lot of teachers supported this bill. It delays class size restrictions for 1 year. A lot of teachers were worried that class size mandates in kindergarten through 3rd grades would cause layoffs for teachers like art, music, and PE classes because of the head of North Carolina Association of Educators, and the governor both say this addresses immediate concerns, but it is not a long-term solution. Surry County Sheriff Graham Atkinson's final day on the job is today. He's retiring after more than 3 decades with the department. Sheriff Atkinson will be taking a job with the State Parole Commission. In our 6 o'clock hour, the sheriff will be a guest of ours following the morning news. The sheriff will do a Facebook Live on the WXII 12 Facebook page. Again, that is at 7 o'clock. Turning now to our State of Addiction coverage. Pharmacies are getting ready for Prescription Drug Take-Back Day, and this is all to help battle the opioid epidemic. This weekend, you can drop off your unwanted or unused prescription drugs. Locations across the Tri are going to accept these medications from 10 in the morning until 2 tomorrow afternoon. People in Alamance County held a drop-off event this week. Organizers hope this week's event will keep drugs out of the wrong hands. The CDC says overdoses have quadrupled since 1999. If you plan to drop off any medication, there will not be any questions asked.
You cannot get in trouble for dropping off any unwanted, unused medications that you have obtained by prescription or from a doctor or physician's orders. So it's anonymous. Again, if you place it in a bag or place it in a paper bag, we will not look into those. So it's safe for you to do it.
We are going to take a deeper look at the opioid epidemic in our State of Addiction special. It is going to air May 7th at 7 o'clock, so mark your calendars. For more of our State of Addiction coverage and a full list of prescription drug drop-off locations for Take-Back Day, visit our website, WXII12.com. Next on WXII 12 News, a state trooper and a man in Delaware are both dead. How police say the whole thing started. And yet another plane controversy, why a man says a simple act got him booted from this flight. It's 4:36. You're watching WXII 12 News.
It's Friday, 4:39 this early morning, and fog is really starting to take over our western counties, even as far south as Lexington. Visibility reduced to 3 miles, near zero from Mount Airy northward across the Virginia border, and North Wilkesboro, some foggy conditions as well. Still some leftover rain. The air is pretty saturated. Cold front, you can almost see it. It's clearing out on the behind it. Ahead of it, we still have some unstable or unsettled showers developing. Big change in temperatures ahead of the front. We're in the mid to upper 60s. Behind it, cooling into the 50s this morning. That front will continue to move eastward and start to bring our at least humidity down briefly today, and I do mean briefly. 85 is our high. We'll see clearing conditions by around midday today. Warm and humid conditions as well. 7-day forecast takes temperatures even warmer tomorrow. Breezy day too, with a high of 88 degrees. Still more 80s on Sunday, but next week we start to cool things down after a rainy Monday. Temperatures in the mid to upper 70s.
The Alamance Burlington Career and Technical Education Department is hosting a high school senior job fair today. It's going to be at the Mebane Arts and Community Center from 9 until 12 this afternoon. It's for Alamance Burlington school system seniors who plan to attend local community college or get a job straight after high school. Transportation is available and there will be on-site interviews. Next on WXII 12, an investigation in England left 1 person shot and 4 people arrested. Coming up next, we hear from someone living in the area who says he saw the entire thing. Plus, scammers are finding more ways to get your information. We have details on what specific group they may be targeting. We'll be right back. You're watching WXII 12 News.
Thanks for staying with us this early morning. 4:43 and a foggy look at North Wilkesboro. Visibility here just a couple of miles. It's much worse in areas like Mount Airy, Galax, and Hillsville this morning, where visibility is near zero. Temperatures a little all over the place. You can actually kind of see where the frontal boundary is. Warmer out ahead of it, much cooler behind it, with temperatures Galax and North Wilkesboro in the 50s, mid to upper 60s across the Triad. Wow, warm start to what promises to be a pretty warm day. Had a couple of raindrops come through during the evening. Storms were few and far between, but we had a couple around. Perhaps you heard the thunder. Foggy conditions for travelers later on this morning. We'll see if the Triad succumbs to any fog around daybreak this morning, but not a done deal as of yet. Areas like I-77, 40, 421 westbound could be problematic this morning. Clouds early on, sunshine this afternoon. Little steamy today, high of 85 degrees, and it looks even warmer tomorrow. We'll have more on that forecast coming up in just a couple minutes.
Right now, British police say officers shot 1 person and arrested 4 people overnight for allegedly planning to carry out a terror attack in London and Kent, England. Police say northwest of central London is where this all happened. They say all 4 people were arrested for being involved with terrorist acts. The woman who was shot is going to be okay. One man watched the entire thing go down.
Just on Williston High Road, there was police with masks and caps, and everybody was out watching.
Police haven't released the names of the 5 people arrested, but they say they have been under observation by counterterrorism officers. Well, right now we are just hours away from the showdown over a government shutdown. Tracy Potts is on Capitol Hill this morning with the latest development on that, plus the Pentagon now investigating former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn.
A vote is expected late this morning, no later than mid-afternoon, to keep the government running.
The time frames are running out and they're on us, and we need to move.
Democrats promised to block it if Republicans tried to rush through health reform. NBC has learned that will not happen this week, even though top Republicans admit they need to act on health care soon.
I think people's seats are at risk if we don't do what we said we would do.
The White House watching from afar as the Pentagon's Inspector General looks into why former National Security Advisor Mike Flynn did not disclose that he was paid $45,000 to visit Russia.
I think that's appropriate. If they think that there's wrongdoing, then the department's Inspector General should look into that.
The White House says it has no documents from Flynn's security clearance.
I honestly do not understand why the White House is covering up for Michael Flynn. I don't get it. These guys are playing games.
This as President Trump makes news on North Korea.
There's a chance that we could end up having a major conflict with North Korea. Absolutely.
Balancing foreign affairs and problems back home on day 99. Tracy Potts, NBC News, Washington.
A Delaware state trooper and a man in Delaware are dead after a standoff. Police say it all started at a convenience store when state trooper Stephen Ballard approached a vehicle he thought was suspicious. Moments later, Burge Seeley jumped out of the car and started shooting at Trooper Ballard. Seeley then left the scene and trapped himself inside of his home. SWAT teams used explosives to get him out, but he was shot and killed after he came out of the house shooting. Neighbors say Seeley and his family never bothered anyone before. Investigators say they don't know why Trooper Ballard stopped the car, but Seeley did have a history of arrests. A man in Wisconsin is at the center of yet another airplane controversy. Kima Hamilton was headed home from Atlanta when an urgent need to use the restroom allegedly got him removed from the flight. Hamilton says a Delta employee told him that he was the reason the flight had to return to the gate. When everyone got off the plane, TSA and FBI agents were waiting to speak with Hamilton.
Communicating with the stewardess what the situation is, pleading even, and she said, well, if I use the restroom, she'd have to inform the pilot and we'll lose our spot in line.
You gotta go when you gotta go. Turns out Hamilton wasn't allowed back on the flight and had to pay 3 times the price to get on another one. Delta has released a statement. It says, our flight crews are extensively trained to ensure the safety and security of all customers. It is imperative that passengers comply with crew instructions during all phases of flight, especially at the critical points of takeoff and landing. The days of overbooking flights are about to be a thing of the past for Southwest Airlines. A spokesperson says this will start next month. They say there will be better forecasting tools and a new reservation system put into place. This all comes after video of a man being removed from a United Airlines flight went viral. Last year, Southwest bumped 15,000 passengers off flights. That is more than any other airline. United Airlines has reached a settlement with that passenger who was dragged off one of their overbooked planes. David Dow was ordered off a flight when he didn't leave a seat. Dow's attorneys did not disclose the financial terms of the agreement, but he said United CEO did the right thing. The police officer who dragged Dr. Dow off the plane worked for the city of Chicago and has been suspended. Well, for some reason, a lot of people like to see things fall to the ground and break. The annual piano drop in Cambridge marks the last day students can drop a class during spring semester. This tradition goes all the way back to 1972, and they consider it a fun way to take away stress from serious courses. This year, the piano drop raised money to go to a nonprofit organization known as Stepping Stone Foundation.
They all rushed to the piano after it hit the ground. I thought that was kind of strange, too.
It is a little strange.
It's like a pinata or something? Is it full of candy or something like that?
That'd be nice.
Well, a little piece of history, maybe. Take a little souvenir home with them, too. All right. Well, no pianos falling from the sky locally. Very little rain, too. Yeah, just a couple of raindrops, too.
Drizzle drazzly.
Little drizzle drazzly. I'm going to use that from now on. A couple of storms came through during the evening hours, too, around 9, 10 o'clock last night. One of which came through the Piedmont Triad. Forsyth County. You may have heard it as it rumbled on by. A couple of leftover showers right along the cold front are still sitting overhead. Still some healthy clouds and even some patchy fog developing once the front clears. And you get clearing skies in the wake of that. We're starting to see that fog developing in the very moist air. Not much more than some spotty rain in the early going today. Heavy fog out west. Visibility, hey, it's improved in Gay Lexington, Mount Airy to a quarter of a mile. Yeah, not too much at all. A half mile in Martinsville now. Mile and a half in Lexington. So we're going to see some dense pockets and even some pretty big stretches of foggy conditions and poor visibility along Highway 52, I-77, and getting westbound 421 and I-40 later on this morning, or currently through later on this morning. So heavy clouds this morning, temperatures in the upper 60s. We will be warming up pretty quickly today, upper 70s by noon, high of 85 degrees this afternoon. We'll be at least around 77 degrees by the time you're sitting down to lunch. Nice outside, a bit muggy today. I'll show you that in a moment. From Surrey County across Wilkes and Yadkin County, we'll start out with temperatures in the 50s and 60s early on, high of 83 degrees this afternoon with pretty good sunny conditions developing later today as well. Mountain temperatures in the mid to upper 70s later on today, starting out in the 50s this morning. So nice weather to be had there. You can see the clouds beginning to clear as once we get past midday, temperatures warming pretty well in the sunshine. We'll have a high in the mid 80s, could even see 86 in a couple of spots, and mid to upper 70s across our western counties. Perhaps a few evening clouds, but not many. It's going to take a while to cool down. Here we are, look at 11 o'clock. We're still in the mid to upper 70s, well above average highs. So a warm evening if you're headed out tonight. By Saturday, again, a couple of raindrops are possible here and there. More clouds, a stronger south wind taking temperatures into the upper 80s. Again, maybe a few raindrops, but not much to speak of. Now, the moist air is down near the Gulf Coast. Watch what happens as we go through time. South winds carry that moisture farther north. Once dew points get above 65 or so, we all start to feel the mugginess in the air. We're up near 70 by tomorrow morning, so humid conditions with warming temperatures. It's definitely going to have a summer feel to the air heading in tomorrow, and a warm day overall. Not much of a rain chance. We'll have some patchy clouds around, warm and humid by noon, and again, a chance for a late day shower or storm. Saturday is the warmest day of the next 7. Actually, we cool down to the 70s for the better part of next week once we see some better rain chances coming through on Monday.
Up next, Starbucks recently released their earnings report. What tools the company says is boosting sales.
Coming up later this morning, a WXII 12 exclusive, Surrey County Sheriff Graham Atkinson on his last day in office. Plus, Bethany Moore highlights a brother's powerful bond.
He is my hero.
That's coming up on WXII 12 News.
4:56 this morning, a really foggy go of it across our northern and westernmost communities behind the front. It'll stay with us through at least mid-morning. Visibility is down near zero. This is a view from Galax Elementary School looking at the surrounding city. Can't see a lot except for the lights here in the early going today. Visibility all across the mountains and including Mount Airy in that is down to a quarter of a mile. Early morning temperatures 50s west, mid to upper 60s across the Piedmont Triad. We're going to get back in the mid 80s later on today. We'll have much more under hotter temperatures and how they hold for the weekend coming up in a bit.
New this morning, Toyota is recalling 250,000 Tacoma pickup trucks. The company says the back wheels can lock up and cause drivers to lose control. This recall applies to certain 2016 and 2017 model year Tacoma trucks. Toyota says oil can leak from the rear differential, the piece that connects the truck's back two wheels, then stop the wheels from moving. The company says they'll start notifying customers affected next month. In the meantime, Toyota is encouraging drivers to bring their trucks into a dealership to get checked out. Osprey Packs is recalling their backpacks after receiving 4 reports of kids falling. The company is recalling more than 87,000 child backpack carriers. The recalls for the Osprey's Poco, Poco Plus, and Poco Premium child backpack carriers made between January 2012 and December 2014. If you have one of these backpacks, get in touch with the company for items that can help your child stay safe. Starbucks reached new heights with their online and app sales. The company says 29% of its sales came from orders placed through the online or mobile app. The app allows customers to pay for an order through their phones and place orders for pickup too. Starbucks earnings reports showed weak sales in the U.S. The company is currently opening stores in China at a rate of 1 store a day. Scam calls are on the rise, and new studies reveal certain age groups are being targeted. So who's falling for these scams? Liz McLaughlin has the story.
It's an age-old nuisance.
Very annoying.
That's becoming an expensive problem. Robocalls are more rampant than ever and scamming Americans out of billions of dollars.
1 in 10 U.S. adults is losing on average over $400 each.
A Truecaller survey found Americans lost about $10 billion to scammers in 2016. That's up 60% from the year before. As we've shifted from landlines to mobile phones, so have the scammers. And now, it's the most tech-savvy generation that's taking the bait. Millennials are 6 times more likely to give away credit card information to fraudsters than any other age group.
And this is because millennials spend most of their waking hours on the phone, and they're a lot more accustomed to sharing information and making payments online or on the phone.
Men were also 2 times more likely than women to get scammed. But anyone can fall victim, and there's not a perfect solution to stop the calls.
Technology has made it a lot faster, cheaper, and easier to be able to dial dozens, if not hundreds of numbers at a time.
But adding your number to the Do Not Call registry and downloading a caller ID and spam blocker app couldn't hurt. Now that tax day is past, 'tis the season for robocallers posing as the IRS.
The IRS is filing lawsuit against you.
Be wary of calls from unknown numbers and never give out personal information. In fact, it's a good idea not to say anything at all. Just hang up or don't answer to begin with. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.